Hello and welcome, guys, to another episode of the OnReviewCast. I'm your host here, Ash, and today we're taking a look at Squid Games Season 2, Episode 5 of the Squid Games, guys. It's been a minute. It's good to be back. And you know, it's the OnReviewCast, your number one go-to show for all things media. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning back in. I know, like I said, I know it's been a minute, but thank you for being here. We really appreciate all of the OnReviewCast faithful. Well, like I said before, let's just jump right back into it, right back into the game. Also, guys, if you like these videos and you like my comical antics and my breakdowns of the OnReviewCast, you know, of all the TV shows, media, all the other things that we kind of like, you know, review here, mainly TV shows, but yeah. If you like all the things that we review here, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Definitely check out also some of my music at Ash the Anomaly, you know, the Anomaly Beats, got some new music coming out pretty soon. And we also got, you know, the Anomaly Beats, got some lo-fi anime type style music and, you know, some anime remixes. I think those are kind of cool. I'm just saying. Anyway, guys, yeah, welcome back again. So like we do with every episode here, we're gonna do our episode breakdown courtesy of fandom of Squid Games season 2 episode 5 and season 2 episode 5, the courtesy of fandom reads is entitled One More Game. One More Game is the 5th episode of the second season of Squid Game. It's the 14th episode over the series overall. And synopsis. Yeah, it's jumping right in. Kang No Il earns enemies for her unruly actions. Nerves fray to the breaking point as the remaining players vote on whether to move to the next round. Ooh. This episode was dated and aired on December 26, 2024. And written by Hwang Dong-hyuk. We know that guy. Well, not really, but we always say it on the cast. By Hwang Dong-hyuk. Yeah, so this is the 5th episode, guys, and yeah, this is the cast. I mean, yeah, you do what we do here. You know how it is. We just break down and we basically talk about the episodes, guys. And also, guys, if you want to interact with me and see what the episode is essentially about, and etc., go ahead and, you know, give us a shout out in the comments and, you know, leave your comments and reviews about what you want to see in an episode or what you like about an episode, and am I doing these breakdown right or am I not doing them right? Anyway, on with the episode breakdown. So, or basically episode walkthrough, essentially what we do here. And I give my, you know, my funny antics, my funny comments about it. But yeah, so this episode kind of picks up from like the last one. He had this from the 6-legged pentathlon where we basically know the rules now. They play these 6 games, and if they mess up on these games, and either one of them mess up on these games, you know, the entire team gets cooked. And we have some of our episode starts where they only have 5 minutes to do this. By the way, it's 5 or 4 minutes or some shit like that. It's kind of crazy. And these are different like kids games that they have to play while they are on this track circle. So each checkpoint is like a certain kind of like game that they have to play, and they have to pass and succeed with the different kind of rules. And so we have our main characters, or subsection, I want to say maybe, of our main characters, where we have the transgendered individual, the old lady and her son, as well as the pregnant lady. Well, the pregnant ladies with the other group. We're going to talk about that later. But there's the old lady and her son, and then there's the spiritualist that's a part of this group. And they're all trying to basically get to do this, do these different checkpoints, and that's how like the last one kind of like leads off. Something I wanted to discuss real quick about this right off the bat is like, do you guys think, like, first of all, like, was this fucking fair? You know what I mean? Was this fucking fair? The only reason I ask this is because, like, well, like, I mean, previously in the games, right, or so far in the Squid Game, like, kind of like world, it's kind of like you've been like kind of like on your own. Do you know what I mean? You've been kind of like, it's been kind of essentially up to you, whether or not, or if you like succeed or if you fail at these games. And it's kind of like you've been kind of a single player on your own, we know that sometimes, I'm trying to think in the previous games, yeah, sometimes you have partners, you partner with someone, but it's never really for, I think, like a real like tag team battle kind of thing where they're kind of on your side. I'm trying to think through season 1 if there was a game that they really had to rely on one another. Yeah, it was tug of war, but they really had to really rely on one another. And I guess if you all mess up, but at the same time, I feel like that's a little bit different because it's not like each individual player at these checkpoints. You know, each individual players at these checkpoints have to kind of like get you through or speak for your entire team, because if you don't the way how this worked was like if you don't get through the entire game, you get eliminated, which is basically you get murked. You know, you get taken out with some heavy machine gun material. If you don't pass each individual checkpoint, if you don't pass any of the games, you get murked in time. And if you don't pass each game, you know, if your time runs out, because you can't pass each game, you get murked. So it's all dependent on how well each of these checkpoints kind of essentially go. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of fucked when you kind of like really think about it. I mean, like, I say it's fucked because, like, I mean, like, if one of your teammates mess up, you all get damaged, and as opposed to with tug of war in season 1, where all of you had to have to muster your strength together to pull the individual, you know, across the finish line, so to speak. And it's like, well, I mean, if you screw up one game, you screw it up for everyone, essentially, is what I'm saying. And has that been necessarily fair so far? But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Has that been fair? Because in my opinion, I don't know if it's necessarily fair in all of this sense, because like, but I mean, like, is it? I mean, and this is a philosophical thing if it's fair overall because of the situations that they've put themselves in. We talked about this before, but I don't know, like we saw in this section when it was Guillon's team's turn, you can have a saboteur within your group, and if there's a saboteur within your group, you all get killed essentially. And the saboteur within Guillon's group was the front man, who was basically being undercover, Young Il, which we'll get into later when they introduce themselves. But Young Il was intentionally messing up. I feel like he was, in my opinion. Again, let me know if you guys think in the comments, because when it came for them to actually participate in that game, he kept messing up the spinning top, and the spinning top was his game. So the first game was the game that was very similar to what we saw in the beginning with the hitting the envelopes and trying to get it to turn over. And the second game was Jeggy, the kind of like Jack games. And the next game was the spinning top, and he was a part of that. And him trying to do, oh, there was throwing stone too before that as well. You had to throw the stone to another upright stone and knock it down. Anyway, so he had spinning top, and he kept screwing this up or whatever. And then like, it was so funny too. Like, they play this like awesome, like, yeah, raved up pump track to get them like all enthusiastic about like winning this, because they were doing really, really good. But then those first couple of games, and then when it came to his turn, obviously the saboteur, he started to screw everything up, and it got fucked from there, right? And and he starts screwing things. So they're playing this music. They're like, and he does the top, and it's like, and I was just like, oh shit, like, yeah, that's obviously, it's a clear sign of like things are not essentially going, they're not going too right. But like, I thought it funny how they chose to do that. And like, I don't know, like, I feel like his performance when he was trying to sabotage them was a little bit over the top, in my opinion as well. I feel like he didn't have to do necessarily all of that. It's like, yeah, he's a saboteur, he's sabotaging them, but it's like, I don't know. It was just, it was like almost a little bit too obvious. But anyway, I digress. So they're playing this game, and essentially they have a montage where a good number of people die within this game because they couldn't finish the entire they couldn't cross the finish line, or they couldn't figure out these games in times, so they were eliminated. And it finally comes their turn, and besides the fact that Young Il screwed up their their whole system. It was basically, for the most part, it was good. It was a very interesting kind of. It was interesting. It's an interesting kind of game. So after this, though, after this. Well, no, hold on, wait a minute. The whole point of this was me wondering the guys that are listening to this, was this game fair? Was this a fair game to everybody involved? And how, I mean, if you were participating in this, how would you feel like if this is like, if you were in this just because like one person like messed up? I feel like what they should have done, like what would have been more interesting is like, I guess like if you had to do these games individually, but like maybe you could have someone sub in. So it really does depend. It just really depends on like how well you could do it, because like if someone could sub in because that person sucks, I guess like, but then you would like kind of be carrying them along your team. But I don't know, like what kind of variations do you guys think that could have been made to that game? Just let me know. Let me know. Let me know what you're thinking. Anyway, so the rest of this episode was more or less about talking about moving on with the game and choosing how to proceed, because that was the next section within this, right? They had to actually vote whether to stay or to go. And just like how we always do, they have this big piggy bank comes down and everybody lights up everybody's eyes like a fucking casino, like a fucking casino lights, and gets them all excited about all this money that they could potentially make. And they're getting all excited and they're getting all pumped for this. And it's kind of like the same thing, things of like what we've been talking about here on the cast. It's just like it's just a theme on like the amount of greed and the amount of like money that people just fucking love. People, and I just really think about it for a second, how much people fucking love money. They don't like just like love money. They fucking love money, dude. And like, it's just, you don't really pay attention to it until you really actually either see it in a communicative way, like on screen like this, or when you really think about it in general. Just like think about it, like really, like think about the internet in general. Like what you've seen, including the show. No, I'm kidding, guys. What you've seen people willing to do, and what you've seen people do in order to be willing to do it, and be able to do for money. There was this like one thing like Black Mirror, I think I saw, where like they were talking about this is one guy who had to pay for his wife's surgery, and this is a whole other show I know, but like quick segue. His wife's surgery, and they kept like, but the surgery come with the consequences, like where she was on a subscription plan, and like how he had to get into this whole illegal website to do these questionable things to keep paying for it, and it paints a true story, especially of these tired economic times, I feel like, of what we're going through, especially. But greed and like debt, I think, is definitely the main themes of this. Shows like the lengths of what people are willing to do and to go through. So much so that the mother and son couple that we spoke about earlier, it's funny because like a whole conversation, right? This mom had with her son about, hey, don't do this. If you put our winnings together, by the way, was like, I think $140 million. If they're willing, sorry guys, if their winnings were put together, it's like $140 million put together. And it's kind of like, how much, again, like I asked in previous cast, like how much is enough? How much is enough money? Like they were going to get 78 million, I think, or something like that individually, but 140 million, 150 million combined together with his mom's thing. To have your mother, again, risk her life, you know what I mean? To have her risk her life and risk your life. You're willing to do that to essentially settle your debts. And he gives the excuse, the mother and son from the son from the mother and son couple. He gives the excuse of like, oh, it won't cover like all my debts, just like a lot of the other participants do as well. They give the excuse of like, it won't cover all my debts. It won't cover all my debts. It's kind of like, dude, you kind of have to be alive to be able to cover all of your debts. It won't cover all of your debts, but like it'll get you somewhere. And then while watching this, I noticed, guys, I thought about it. I was kind of like, a little bit of this. Can't talk today. A little bit of this is a self-confidence issue. If you think about it, right? A little bit of this is a self-confidence issue. Like, how much is enough? Yes, you might be in debt, but $78 million, dude? What? $78 million. Like, even if you are so much in debt, people, I don't know who are listening to this. I know you're coming from all kind of walks of life, but there's a thing called capital. And if you have capital, you can grow and do things with a substantial amount of money. If you know what you're doing with it. And it's a gamble, yeah, but at the same time, if you have a certain base amount of money and you finance that properly, you could go from 78 million to $1 billion. You theoretically can. You probably, there's a chance for it, but like I think the ease of wanting to do that, of wanting to just win this money the easy way, is just a part of that appeal as well. But it's the self-confidence issue of not feeling that they can achieve that goal or achieve that number and value. And I think that's kind of sad. That's when I was watching this, and that's the whole psychological side of this. I wasn't really thinking about it. It's a self-confidence issue. And this actually brings us to this character that's being bullied, that has been being bullied by these bullies, that's a part of this group, this entire group, through this entire series. And he's chosen to, in this episode anyway, he's chosen to continue to play these games because he's pressured essentially into continue to playing. And that's, of course, like that's the dynamics of the show that make it interesting. There's different characters from all different walks of life to choose whether they continue to going and stop playing. Interestingly enough, we see also within this episode during the voting that Young Il, going by Young Il, well, aka the front man, aka Junho's brother, Junho's brother. He is standing up and saying that, no, you guys should get out of here. We should get out of here. We should be done with it. Like, and ironically, and again, he's playing the part of the double agent, but he's playing this, giving into this idea of like, yes, like trying to show them the light. And it's just like, even the bad guy that's undercover is trying to show them the light and speak up for them, because Guion is also doing that. If we remember from last time, he's standing up for them and he's saying that, don't throw your lives away. Don't do this. Don't sacrifice, your lives to continue playing this, just because you need more money. Again, dude, no matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter if you're dead. Like, I know this is YouTube or wherever this is streaming. Like, maybe this may be a little bit sensitive and harsh, but in order to spend that money, you got to be alive. You won't see a dime of it if you're gone. You know what I mean? It wasn't gonna matter if you're gone. And I know some people in severity and some really, really tight debts, but you gotta know when to walk away from the table. You know what I mean? And this is this whole thing. And you have some individuals who are like crying and sobbing with this game, and with this new game, and with this new whether to continue not the game because we haven't got that, whether to continue to keep playing or not. And the main theme was just like, some of them was like, we're too old to start over. And this individual's the girl who was sobbing is younger, and there's just always an excuse. You know what I mean? There's always an excuse for this greed. And then that's when you like step back. There's some real like themes in this. Like, you step back and think they're addicted. They're addictive, and because of this personality, this gambling, that's how they got in debt in the first place. They're addicted to trying to get this money the easy way. They have low self-esteem and low confidence that within this capital of money, they could potentially progress and invest in the right way, or find different avenues of investment to climbing out of that hole. It's a lifeline, but they look away from the lifeline and they look forward deeper into the hole of digging themselves more into debt, which is fucking crazy to me. And I know it's just a TV show, but like, guys, this is how some people actually fucking are. It's wild. It's wild. It's wild, man. It's wild. Anyway, yeah, so they have this vote, and of course they have this one old man individual. You know how it is, guys. This is one old motherfucker again, we all have that uncle, right? That uncle that's addicted to the luck, to the numbers. That they just want to play the numbers and keep playing that lotto. Is gonna hit at some point. Got to keep playing the lotto. And there's nothing wrong with playing the lotto every once in a while, but like, and you every day and you have a problem. You have a problem, right? When you have a problem, you have a problem. You know you have a problem, right? And like you could tell, like there's that one old guy in the background who's just like, one more game. He gets the crowd pumping and chanting, and of course the count goes on, and yeah, it happens. They can hook a crook. Like I said before, it's one more game. So we're in it for another more game, and we're gonna see essentially what game it is. And now amongst Song Gi-yeon's group, there's this air of awkwardness, right, that is essentially come about because one of the individuals who would be sure we're going to continue to say no, we're not going to play the game anymore, has decided to say yes, let's play the game. And another psychological thing is that they're wearing these identifiers. I think we talked about it before, to say what basically their choice was. And in this, and it's so funny because like before the vote, everybody was kind of talking about like, you think some characters are going to go a certain way and to say like, we're not going to vote for this. We're going to go for that. And they're just like trying to convince them. And like during even before the vote, keeping in mind like this is for their lives, they're like, yeah, no, totally, I'm gonna vote no so we can go home. No, yeah, totally. And then when I get up there, it's like, oh, they're clicking yes. This is like the same thing I was talking about with the guy, the son talking to his mom before going up there and voting, and he goes up there and he agrees, tells his mom, yeah, no, mom, totally, I'm gonna vote for us to go home. And he fucking gets up there and he chooses this day, and it's like, what the fuck? Oh man. But yeah, it's wild, man. Like, I don't know, like again, the theme is just to show how crazy people are in this episode, in the world, when it comes to greed, and how easily how easy it is to manipulate them when it comes to them actually when it comes to actually them in dealing with money. So something I wanted to talk to you guys about real quick also on this episode was the heart-to-heart Gi-yeon shared with his friend when they were sitting in front of their beds because they were afraid that people are going to come and try to attack them during the night, which is something that we experienced in the first season of Squid Games. And he talks about him and how he used to talk back in the day and how we used to see a different side of Gi-yeon. And it's funny because like when I was watching this scene, I felt like the acting is so good. I felt like we were watching almost like season 1 Gi-yeon, like way back when we first meet him at the horse races, and he's like joking around with this guy. It's just like his facial expression and his tone of voice, the shift is so slight and so easily shifted into those different tones when from the season 2 Gi-yeon to like that season 1 Gi-yeon. It was a nice, refreshing kind of take on that. So kudos to the actor and kudos to the both of those actors in that scene. That was a really, really good scene where he was trying to convince him of essentially doing that as well. Something that I thought was funny in the scene was in the show also was the whole when the old lady had to go use the bathroom in the middle of the night, and she's like pouring her heart out to this triangle guy, and the triangle guy is just like, no, I'm not listening to this. And then she like turns the drama up to like she turns the drama up to like 1 million, and she's like, oh god, please, I know you have a mom, you wouldn't treat her this way, this, and then like basically the world's smallest violin in the background, and she's like giving an Oscar Emmy nominated performance and pleading with this guy to let her use the bathroom, and it's rather entertaining. But yeah, we also have in this episode, we know the guys that are still looking for him, kind of like the deep storyline in this. We have the guys that are looking for Song Gi-yeon and trying to find out exactly where this island is so they could essentially come and save him, the cavalry, so to speak. But there wasn't like too much significance on that. All of them are determined in finding him. And then finally at this next episode, upcoming episode, at the final end of this episode, we have the fourth game, and this one's definitely gonna be interesting. And we'll talk about that later in the next episode, because this video is getting kind of long, or the podcast is getting kind of long. But yeah, that's basically the end of the episode. The next game starts, and essentially it cuts right there. It's just more of like a slower episode, but like honestly, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. I think it was all right. Okay, so now we're gonna get into a different section of the show called Ash's favorite scenes. And in Ash's favorite scenes is where we pick some of the top 3 scenes, or some of my favorite scenes of this episode which I really enjoyed. I think we kind of really talked about them a little bit. The heart to heart that Gion had with his friend, and essentially speaking with him about how he used to be in the old days, and how it was like a blast from the past, and how his acting basically came up from season 1. So that was kind of cool. I actually really liked that. The sob story with the mom of the old lady, and even before that, she was talking. I really like this old lady and the son combination thing. Probably because it touches near and dear to me, but it's an interesting dynamic how she's like, oh look, I have like a little blade thing, and she's just being like really funny with her son, and like how she's like basically this old warrior, like the addition of her character has been very interesting. So but when she was pleading with the door with the pregnant lady to let her use the bathroom, yeah, I think that was like one of the really interesting, funny scenes, but like it added a little bit of interest into it as well, into the whole dynamic of it as well. But yeah, the last, I think, favorite final scene, I think, or most interesting scene in this, I think, was obviously, I think it's actually at the beginning, when we had young Eel, going by young Eel, aka the front man. He started screwing them up, and like I was saying at the beginning, guys, what do you think? Do you think this was intentional, or do you think this was like, was this planned, or was this like, I think it was planned, because he was doing all kind of crazy athletic stuff. He took down those two not thugs, I'm gonna call them thugs, the bullies that were bullying the guy. He took them out easily, which basically showed his like athletic abilities, and it's like he can't be screwing up this much. But at the same time, like, if it was a fake out, or if he was faking this, why? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get, like, why would he what would be the end game of like messing up so much, and then finally at the end advancing and saying that, okay, yeah, let's let them pass. And he could have just killed Gion right then, and just screwed up, and everybody would have just been killed, and they wouldn't obviously shot him. They would have let him go and then killed everybody else. But I mean, I guess he's playing some kind of game. He will be playing a larger role, from what I understand, moving forward. And like but I don't understand. That's actually, it's really confusing. It's a really confusing scene. I don't understand like why. It is one of my favorite scenes, but like, why would he choose to screw up? And he starts slapping himself, and it's like, was that a real screw up? Was he really getting nervous, or he just? I think it was a part of the ploy, but then it was kind of like over the top especially when he started slapping himself, and they started looking at him kind of like crazy, and they're like, "Whoa, like what's wrong with this guy? What's wrong with this guy?" That was a little bit much. I think it was a test to see like, what would they do, or how would Gion treat the situation? But also he's the front. We know that he's a front man, so he could just be crazy. You know what I mean? He can just be crazy. That could just be like the explanation for it. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and etc. This is a very interesting. This is a very interesting scene, a very interesting thing, and I'd love to hear back from you, guys, on all of that. And lastly, guys, we gotta give our on review score for this episode. So Squid Game episode 5, I'm definitely gonna give this out of 5. It wasn't bad, but it was definitely one of the beginning. I think it was definitely more interesting. So I think I'm gonna give this one a 3. Yeah, it's a 3. The entire episode wasn't banging. It was just very interesting. It was more of a slower paced episode. This episode gets a 3, and that's about it for our show, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Guys, don't forget to follow us on all of our socials. Thank you so much again, like I said before, for making it all the way to end. Like you got socials or Facebook and Instagram, the Twitter. Don't forget to, listen to some of my music, Ashley Anomaly Beats, on Spotify, YouTube, every streaming service. There's some new music coming out definitely for Ashley Anomaly. Pretty soon I would be on the lookout for that. It's definitely something to look out for. If you like more like alternative, like hip-hop kind of stuff, and then there's maybe some more tracks coming down the way, I would definitely follow. At least I would definitely do that. Anyway, guys, like I said before, thank you so much for listening. And lastly, before I go, like I say at the end of these, be safe, be kind, be you, take care.